there, blues fan. John here with the Blues Guitar Institute, and this is your Tuesday Blues, where we take cool acoustic blues concepts and we break them down in simple, straightforward lessons, just like we're about to do with this lesson, where we talk about using the 2-5-1 chord progression in a blues turnaround. All right, let's dive right into the lesson. First, we're going to play through this up to tempo, and then we'll play through it slowly. It's a really good idea to get the tune, the melody, and sort of the contour of this thing in your head before you start trying to work it out on the guitar. So here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1. And slowing that down. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. So this part works great as a good example of what you can do with a 2-5-1. And if you're not familiar with what that is, then I highly recommend you go back and watch Tuesday Blues number 165, where we cover that concept. But basically, it's a cool little chord progression that you can use to really kind of spice things up. And we're going to move to the 2 chord. We're coming from the key of A here. So our 2 chord would be a B. In blues, we definitely use a lot of dominant 7s. So we're going to use this B dominant 7 chord as our 2 chord. And then our 5 is an E chord. And again, we're going to use the E7 as well as the E. And then 1 would be an A. So we're going to sneak this little chord progression here into a turnaround. 2, 5, 1. You can already hear a little bit of melody just developing out of the chord changes. It's pretty cool. 2, 5, 1. It's definitely a cool way to resolve back to the 1. And again, you can do this in the key of A. You can do this in any key, but our example today is going to be based in the key of A. So our 1 chord that we're targeting is this A. And you can do this in a variety of spots in the progression, like we talked about in Tuesday Blues 165. But today we're going to highlight how to do it in a turnaround. So if you're playing along with a cool little 12-bar blues in A, and you come to bar 10, you can throw this in there as the turnaround. And it creates a little bit of interest in your turnaround. It doesn't sound like the classic blues turnaround where you've got those descending patterns. This is definitely more chordal based, and that's what this 2-5-1 business is all about. So let's start diving into the picking. We're going to start off on A. And you really want to get into this long A position where you bar across the 2nd fret on strings 4, 3, and 2, and then reach out with your little finger and grab the high A here. This is called a long A, and it's used quite frequently in the blues. And what we're going to do is hit the open 5th string for a quarter beat. Then on beat 2, we're going to play 8th notes. So we're going to pinch the bass along with the top 2 strings and then come back and play the top 2 strings by themselves. Then we're going to do that same thing, but we're going to flatten this A down to an A flat. So that's at the 4th fret on the high E string. And then we're going to move into A7 land here by moving down and playing this G. That gives us a real A7 vibe. Is a straight up A7 chord here. So we're going to play that in that way. Just descending there. So there is a call back to the classic blues turnaround right there with that descending pattern. Where it goes from there is pretty interesting. So what we're going to do at the top of the next bar is a little triplet. And this will be maybe a little tricky for you picking wise, because the triplet is actually going to start on the open 1st string. Then we're really getting into our B7 shape. Let that 1st string ring though for a second. That's the triplet. these two notes from the B7. Here on the first fret of the 4th string, and then your B on the 5th string. Then you come back, and we're going to flesh out the full B7. This is where we're starting the 2-5-1 with that B7 that we talked about as being the 2. Then we're going to move into our 5 by doing a cool little hammer-on into the major 3rd. So we're going to really play with that minor 3rd to major 3rd. That's the basic move. Let's slow that down. Then you're going to hit the open 2nd string. That's the and of 3 of this measure. And then we're going to roll through strings 4, 3, and 2, but play the D note on the 2nd string, 3rd fret, to get us into E7. So we really kind of moved from outlining an E major chord to an E7. And that's in a triplet picking rhythm, those last 3 notes. So 4 triplet. Then you can resolve back to an A. And all I'm doing here is just kind of pushing through the 5th string and the 4th string under an A bar and making sure to hit this 2nd fret, 2nd string note, because that is where the resolve really happens here. If you enjoyed today's lesson, then you really need to head over to bluesguitarinstitute.com and check out the cool other lessons and courses that we've got going on. And if you really want to build a solid foundation in the blues, then check out Acoustic Blues Jumpstart. It's a course that you can sign up for at bluesguitarinstitute.com/start now, and I'll give you 3 completely free lessons just designed to get you up and running with some of the core concepts in the blues. There's some really cool quick wins in there. I really want you to check it out. So again, check out the Acoustic Blues Jumpstart back at bluesguitarinstitute.com/start now. That's it for this lesson, and I'll see you here next week when we tackle more cool acoustic blues. Until then, practice smart and play on.